Hello, everyone. Welcome to Collider for some Sundance 2021 coverage. I am beyond thrilled right now to have the team behind How It Ends with us right now. Daryl, Zoe, Cailee, welcome to the channel, and thank you guys so much for swinging by to talk about your movie.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
All right. So to start here, the beautiful thing about a festival is that everybody is hearing about your movie for the very first time, but that means I need someone to give a synopsis. So Zoe, Daryl, who wants to go for it? What is How It Ends about?
Here, I can do it. So How It Ends is about a woman played by Zoe who goes on a journey across the city of LA on the last day on Earth to make it to her last party before the world ends, and runs into an eclectic cast of characters along the way.
Okay. I was also trying to figure out where I should stop in my line of questions. I noticed a couple things weren't included in the production notes. All right. So was this idea born from the pandemic, or were any of these themes and ideas that we see on display here ones that you two were toying around with and eager to explore through film before?
I think they were almost entirely born out of the pandemic. The themes of like sort of inner child work and wrestling with one's own sort of fears and vulnerabilities is obviously timeless, but I think the pandemic is what spawned our desire to really tackle them head on in a film. That's our dog.
I'll take care of her. You keep talking.
But yeah, I think we started writing it. We started conceiving of it like a couple months into lockdown, and we were conceiving of it also. That's our dog. We were conceiving of it also with the idea in mind that we wanted to be going into production during the pandemic. So part of its conception was also figuring out a narrative that worked within the parameters of the COVID-19 safety protocols. And we sort of went the extra mile and shot it all outside and 6 feet apart. But yeah, it was fully a pandemic production.
There's something that I love about the film feeling like it's going to be a little bit of a time capsule of this unique time that we're all struggling through right now. So I definitely appreciate that part of it. Cailee, what was your first reaction when they called you up about this project? One, did you have a clear vision of what they wanted to do right from the initial description? And then two, did you have any apprehension about shooting a movie in COVID times?
Zoe was in my quarantine pod when the lockdown started. So she was very much in my world. We were going on 6 feet apart walks, and that was kind of the only thing keeping me sane at the moment. I did have a professional therapist, but she was actually more helpful at the time for me. She's my guru. So we were, we both hinted at doing something creative in this time. And then it was so crazy. And it's not crazy to us because our minds are always synced up, it feels like. But I texted her saying, hey, I think we should make a movie. And Daryl and Zoe were right in the middle of planning something out and sketching a storyline together. So I think my only apprehension was diving into the world of comedy, which Daryl and Zoe, the films that they've made previously, they balance comedy and drama so beautifully. I've actually never seen it done the way they do it. So I had a sort of idea. I just didn't know how I was going to pull it off at all. And they were so great, and they let me play and find where I needed to be. Like the first day was literally just trying to help Cailee figure out what the tone of this film was. But I think we got there, and we had so much fun along the way.
With that in mind, having gone through your first experience doing comedy, is there any I guess, a new tool in your acting toolkit, so to speak, that even when we're filming things normally again, came from your How It Ends experience?
For sure. I never felt so free. I mean, what was so beautiful about doing this is that Zoe and Daryl were very much like wherever you're at today, because it was such unprecedented times that we were in and still are. They were so understanding that, you know, if you're waking up and you're in your PJs and you don't know how you're gonna get through the rest of the day, or, you know, if you want to throw a tantrum, if you want to cry in the scene, if you want to laugh hysterically, like wherever you're at in your life, it works for today. It works in the scene, and we're just going to use it. So I think that'll hopefully serve me in my projects to come, because it just like wherever you're at to start with when you came to set, was, you know, like there was no issue in they just, like, it was so full of play. I felt like I was going back to the root of what this is for me. So it was very refreshing and nourishing.
Zoe and Daryl, given how Cailee just described the experience, how did you go about writing a script for this and then assembling your ensemble too? Is it a situation where you kind of need to wait until you have all the pieces in place to really write out every single scene, or did you have the blueprints and then just fit people into it?
We kind of knew, like, after we conceived of it, what we wanted to do, and started with a structured outline, and then wrote out a lot of it, and then left some as like frameworks with structured story beats for the actors to be able to hit. So for example, like all of Cailee and Zoe's scenes are fully written, and Helen Hunt and Zoe and Bradley Whitford and Zoe are scripted, for example. And then there's tons of scenes also that are working off of this creative outline that has these moments that, and in some cases, even dialogue that we knew we wanted the actors to hit. And we did have a lot of those actors in mind, like who we wanted to work with. And just fortunately, a bunch of them are people that we've either worked with before or they're friends, luckily. And they didn't have a lot to do because it was the pandemic. So we just reached out and said, hey, are you interested in getting back out there and maybe making something? And so many of them were like, yes, let's go. And some were a little scared. And so it was really fluid and malleable based on kind of where they were at.
You assembled such an incredible group of talented individuals here. So I imagine this applies to everyone to a degree, but if you had to pick one cast member who, I don't know, just really surprised you, threw you a curveball, took an especially big swing that panned out and is in the movie now, who would you want to highlight?
It's impossible to highlight one over another because we have such an embarrassment of riches and everybody is absolutely incredible. My choice will be Cailee Spaeny.
Ah, yeah.
Whatever.
It's true, because she, I think, really we did kind of drop her into the deep end with the likes of people like Fred Armisen and Nick Kroll and she swam. Yeah. She was so fearless. Even though she likes to think that she was full of fear, which I know there was some trepidation, but she is just so effortless and so authentic in her choices, and such a cute little nugget. and just such a talented actress. And so I was so blessed as co-director to get to work with Cailee, who I had only seen and heard about through Zoe from The Craft and seen her other work. And she was just such a joy to work with because she was so down for anything. And there's, throughout in this business, some actors can be more difficult than others. And Cailee was just so free and open to do whatever we kind of threw at her.
Cailee, I got a two-parter for you. Having brought
Okay.
up the craft and having worked with Zoe on two just extremely different types of material and also ways of filming, what's one thing that you love that she did as a leader on set on the craft that carried over to this? And then what's a new side of her as a creative that really kind of popped out and was shining to you on this set?
Oh, I mean, it was so incredible to work with her creatively in such different ways back to back. Her being my leader and my director, which she did so effortlessly. Like literally, like I always felt peace when I was on set with her. Like she just was such a guiding light for me, and it was scary. It's the first time I've ever led a movie like that, and she really held my hand throughout that whole thing. So to see her like I mean, she was my director. She really had such grace when she was leading that ship, and then to get to act with her was also such a dream. And I'm such a fan of her performance and Band-Aid and Breaking Upwards. I couldn't wait to get in there and do those scenes with her. And she just blows my mind every time I watch her. The way that she can improvise in comedy so effortlessly and then snap into a dramatic scene just like that. It was just, I mean, it was, I feel so lucky to get to, well, first of all, to be your friend, but also to just soak in all your genius. So, but we filmed two movies we had like we were nonstop. It was insane. Like that's a bond that'll never be broken.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna
We're
be
sealed.
I'm gonna be really jealous when Cailee goes and makes 1,000 other movies with other people. Because 2020, 2021 has been the year of Cailee Spaeny CLJ. Thank you for saying all of that. It makes me cry, and I love you so much.
I love you too.
Speaking of going on to make other movies, Cailee, and I guess you might have touched on this before with another answer you gave me, but looking back at your resume since, bursting onto the scene with Pacific Rim Uprising, I think almost all of your films have been like big major productions, and now you're doing something more intimate like this. So what is a part of the filmmaking process on a smaller, more intimate movie like How It Ends that you're going to bring back with you when you do get another blockbuster lead?
I think it's just the play of it all. Like when you're a kid and you go outside and you play pretend with your friends, or you're making films in your backyard or whatever it is, wherever that love for the art started for you. I really found that again on this project. There was no pressure at all. It was completely play and just joy, and there's no wrong answer. I think sometimes when you do those big studio films, there's a lot of pressure because there's a lot of eyes on you. There's a lot at stake. And I had no idea where this was going to go, and then the cast came out. I'm like, oh, this is a real deal right now. And now we're at Sundance, but I could have never imagined it. We weren't thinking that far, or at least I wasn't. I'm sure you guys knew you were making gold, but that's what I hope to bring on to the next projects. It's
Cailee,
just the love for it.
we actually had like 50 studio executives on Zoom watching every scene. We had GoPros meticulously placed on the streets.
In the bushes.
In the bushes, yeah.
I love hearing that she had a no pressure experience, but as the co-directors, as the two steering this ship, what is kind of maybe like a little thing that as viewers we wouldn't pick up on that has challenged you for the first time, basically wearing 1,000,001 hats on this production?
Well, it's the first time that we've ever co-directed. We've made a number of films as co-writers and co-producers. But yeah, so I wouldn't say that was a challenge. I think, it sort of came organically, especially because of quarantine and the nature of the film. But this was probably, Breaking Upwards was our first film, and we wore 1,001 hats on that. but we hadn't gone back to wearing quite as many hats until returning to How It Ends. So yeah, I think that was probably the biggest challenge. I mean, outside of obviously COVID safety protocol challenges, I think it was really just sort of, we were such a lean crew. Daryl was lensing the film, he was operating, and then we were co-directing, we were both writing, we were both directing, I was acting. Producing. We had no AD, or Daryl had no camera department. I mean, he had a co-DP, but there was no focus puller or ACs, that we had no costume designer, no hair and makeup. We had
nobody.
No script supervisor. So, you know, we were very much like in charge of just making sure that that we were getting the things we needed, and that I think that was probably those were the stakes. And I think the other stakes, I'm such a I think Daryl is too, but I take it to like sort of almost a problematic level of like, I'm so concerned with people's level of comfort and well-being on a set, that like this ask was even bigger than asking someone to do an indie with you, because this was the first time that so many of our cast members had acted or performed at all or been creative since lockdown. So there was just like those nerves of making sure that like these, you know, huge actors that we were asking to come do this sort of experimental project with us were, you know, feeling like they were getting a fulfilling experience and not, you know, freaked out.
I mean, I think it helped that each of them were paid $1 million each. You know,
I mean,
that was a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I am a firm believer that more people out there should be taking that part of production that seriously. So I appreciate that you do that. Just so we can kind of shout out some other members of the ensemble, and I can ask about like little details here, a bunch of very random questions that might seem, you know, kind of silly. But first, who made the pancakes at the beginning of the film? Because they look real good and they made me want pancakes.
Those came from IHOP. Shout out to IHOP.
Oh my God, I did. Shout out.
IHOP.
Yeah, I'm obviously gonna Grubhub IHOP later.
Yeah.
Another food question for you. Did Olivia Wilde personally select that specific end of the world cake?
No.
She did not. I did. That was my dream end of world's meal. However, she happily enjoyed it and definitely ate some of that cake.
Now I need more specifics. It's your dream end of world meal. Like what specific, where did the cake come from?
Like a chocolate Oreo, luscious, like multi-layered chocolate cream, all the dairy that you can consume.
Yeah.
I very much respect that choice. Zoe and Cailee, what is your end of world meal of choice? If it wasn't that cake, what would it be?
Zoe's definitely all-time dressing. The amount of all-time dressing.
There's a restaurant in LA that has, this is so sad though, my end of world meal is not a salad. I just need to say that.
No, it can't be. It can't be.
But I did eat a lot of this like dressing that I don't know what is in it, but it tastes like ice cream in a dressing form. And so it makes salads like somehow
like
a treat. But end of world meal.
I'm sure it'd be pasta for you, no?
Yeah, like a pasta pizza. It would just be like
pasta on pizza.
Carbo loading.
Yeah,
These are the best, so I'm behind that.
Yeah.
I think mine would be chicken and dumplings, preferably from Cracker Barrel, just because I'm from the southern Midwest. That's all I can think about. Easy hash browns and a burrito.
And a burrito. Yeah. Cailee would come to set almost every morning having eaten. She'd be like, "Oh, I don't feel great." And we'd be like, "What'd you eat?" And she's always like, "A burrito." And we're always like, maybe that's the kicker, is that's not sitting well every morning.
The amount of times that happened was so sad. Yeah, I got the nickname as Little Burrito on set.
Yeah.
As long as the burrito's worth it, it's all good in my book.
Always worth it.
So I know there's certain restrictions that we have to abide by now, but did any of you get to pet Logan Marshall-Green's puppies?
Yes. They were super cute. And when he brought them to our house, they pooped all over the backyard. But because they're so cute, it was okay.
Yeah.
They're called Chugs. They're Chihuahua pugs. Chugs.
And those were his actual quarantine, like, emotional support purchases. Or I think he adopted them. But yeah, that was like legit in terms of like Cailee saying people just like showing up where they're at. Like that is literally how Logan showed up.
He's like, I've got 3 Chugs. Can I bring those?
I feel like that's going to be an expectation going forward. Like now he just can't show up to a new set without 2 Chugs in his arms.
Yeah.
It's in his contract.
Yeah.
Zoe, how much do you hate those shoes now?
I burned them. I decided to wear them on the first day and then cursed myself and everyone around me every day thereafter. It was really ridiculous. I was a ridiculous person every day talking about those shoes. The shoes are definitely a character in the film. And there was so much hill walking, but I think like both of us got a good glute butt workout as
For sure.
as a bonus.
It's a solid silver lining there.
Yeah.
I have to let you guys go soon, but I kind of wanted to wrap up with a big question. All 3 of you could feel free to weigh in on this, but I feel like this is an important thing to keep highlighting. You could probably sense that I like talking about this at this point, but one of my favorite aspects about the movie is that I feel like it shines a major spotlight on the value of longstanding collaborations. And I imagine you always want to be open to meeting new filmmakers out there, but why is continued collaborations and continuing to build them important to the work that all of you want to do?
This business is such a tough one. And, you know, you can sometimes feel like you have lost your rudder. There's so many forces and external factors. And I think that for me, Zoe has always kind of been there as a very grounding presence and kind of been this incredible life partner. But Lula's like, what about me?
I have the same problem.
Oh my God.
I mean, we started off in this business working on stuff together. Our first movie, Breaking Up Words, was 11 years ago now. And we've done stuff separately, but I always feel safest when I'm working with Zoe. Really because we share such a similar sensibility and taste, and she's so dang smart. And we complement each other really well. And so it's just always lovely to collaborate and bounce ideas off of each other. And that's rare to find sometimes in this business. Sometimes you meet someone on a project that you never get to work with again. So to foster a relationship over time, as Zoe and Cailee have started to do on the craft, and we've done over many years, is really special. And I'm very grateful to continue to make work with Zoe.
Thanks, Dee.
Oh.
That was so beautifully said, and thank you so much. And I echo it all in return. Yeah, I mean, it is amazing to. Daryl just had all of our movies actually printed. I'll show you. Can I show one?
Yeah, show.
Printed on VHS boxes.
Well, yeah,
and they're like, I don't know if you can see, but like, so there's like Band-Aid on VHS, and then here's The Craft on VHS.
Well, this guy made them online. They're really cool.
And then he got How It Ends made on VHS. But we have so many that we've made together, whether it's been, him producing something that I've directed, or me producing something he's directed, or us writing together. And it is amazing to have, all of those filmmaking experiences under our belts as a team. And I echo all of the sentiments that it is so nice to have that sort of shared sensibility and an unspoken language that I think made How It Ends all the more fluid a process, because we can just sort of pick up what the other is looking for without without even having to say anything a lot of the time. And then, like, in addition to our collaborations, you know, it was amazing to then have Cailee come on board after we had just worked together on the craft, and to be fostering this relationship both creatively and personally is so special and moving. And then really the whole cast too. I think, like, I have worked with almost all of them before How It Ends, and consider so many of them friends. And I think, like Daryl said, like, this is such a brutal business in so many ways, and so to be able to sorry, one sec.
Let's grab the door.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a wrap.
Will you grab the door?
No, I'm sorry. There's someone at our door.
I was just going to say, it's just so lovely to be able to continue, Lula, to be able to continue working with people that you. Hi, sorry, we're in an interview, Bri. Will you just give us 1 second?
Just slow down.
This is a full nightmare.
I've been in this situation many a times. I get it.
It's just I just feel so lucky to have a dog that is so vocal. I feel so lucky. Cailee?
Yes. I mean, I was just going to add that for every actor, I think it's the dream to find that director-actor collaboration. You know, I think it's so hard to put yourself out there and be vulnerable as an artist. And when you find that special person that you can just click with, and like Zoe said, like the minimal amount of talking, the minimal amount of explaining, like, you know, you can look at the person and they know exactly what you're going to do, and vice versa. I think, I just think it makes the experience better, which we all want. And at the end of the day, I think it makes the art better as well. So yeah, and I just feel so lucky that I've connected with you two both, and I hope that we keep making films forever.
I'm all for that. I feel like you can feel it coming through in the movie, and you guys, you have a 1-2 punch here of tapping into things that I think many out there have experienced over the past year now. And then on top of that, when our industry is being rocked to the core by something like a pandemic, the fact that you could feel the passion for filmmaking and just the willingness to do whatever you need to do in order to keep delivering content that's meaningful right now, that in and of itself is very meaningful to me. And I know a lot of people watching this interview share that same feeling. So thank you for bringing How It Ends to Sundance, and huge congratulations to everybody out there. Do keep an eye out for it. How It Ends.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.